I'm trying to give you a quick thought as we wrap up Psalm 38. We've been traveling with David through the valley of failure. He has sinned. He has offended God, and it's bringing about rebuke and a season of chastening in his life. And he's kind of got two truckloads of problems. He's got the problems that are a result of his sin, okay, that he brought on himself. And then he's got the second truckload of his enemies. And boy, they're aggressive. They're plotting, they're planning, they're spinning false narratives. They are politically ready to take him down. They want him dead. They want to overthrow him. And really, they want to overthrow God. They want to overthrow God's plan in him. There's a diabolical component to this. And isn't that the way we navigate life? We're, on one hand, dealing with our own flesh struggles, our own failures and sin. And if we're not careful, we'll just always feel like God is shaming and guilting us if we don't understand the heart and the mercy and the grace of God. But on the other hand, with our own flesh struggles, if that's not enough, we've got the spiritual battles of just the spiritual war that we fight every day. And David knows what to do in this. He knows what to do with his sin. He knows what to do with his enemies, and that is run to my God. He's overwhelmed. He feels like he's about to quit. He feels like he's about to fall apart. He feels like any minute he's going to step into an enemy's trap. And so in one sense, David in Psalm 38 is repenting. He's expressing sorrow and ownership of his failure. And he's finding hope in God and not in his performance, in his exceptional behavior. He's finding hope in God, verse 15. And at the same time, David is asking God to intervene in the spiritual battle. And I think the big lesson I want you to take with you today is that you carry, in some sense, the same kind of dual struggle that David carried, and God understands. God knows. God gets it. David says in verse 20, they also that render evil for good are mine adversaries. He says, my enemies, I haven't done anything wrong. I've done good to them, but they're giving me evil in return. Maybe you're facing that right now today at work, or maybe you're going through some political struggle or navigating some complex thing at work where you're just trying to do what's best and others are attacking you for it. That's so common in today's culture. David says, I'm being rendered evil for good from my enemies because, and look at what he says here, because I follow the thing that good is. Just because I chose to follow God, just because I decided to do what is right and good, I'm being persecuted for it. So my friend, you're dealing with, on one hand, your own flesh struggles, on another hand, the spiritual battle of persecution. You're dealing with unjust accusation, false accusation, slander. You're dealing with those that will despise you and hate you just because you follow Jesus, just because you love him. Well, my friend, you have a God who understands. He knows the injustice you bear, and he went to the cross to deal with all of that injustice and to bear the greatest of injustices on your behalf. So you have a Savior, a high priest who was touched with all the feelings of your infirmities. So do what David did. Run to him. Take the shorter time I'm giving you today. Normally we'd go 5 or 6 more minutes. Why don't you use those minutes to talk to your God about what you're carrying? I hope you have a great Wednesday. I hope you are encouraged, and I'll see you tomorrow.